The fear of change. Many people are afraid to enjoy themselves because they fear that the happy situation they are in will not last. Therefore, they miss the joy of the moment by worrying about when it will end. Well, everything ends, everything changes. So, why waste a perfectly good moment by worrying about when it will pass? For people who have had trauma so early in their lives that they cannot remember it is the element of surprise that worries them. Oh my god, I cannot tell you how much I personally hate surprises and and I mean how to explain? Like if something pops up, right? Like not forced by anyone else, I don't have a problem. So like for example, about a month ago, and I apologize, this is kind of why I haven't been uploading on here, is that we got a puppy, right? Went in on Thursday, was handed a puppy because our shelter like never has puppies, and we went to volunteer. Um, and fell in love. Went back the next day to put him on hold. He was already taken. Put the next dog on hold, and that's the one that we ended up with. So I've been working on training him and adjusting, and it's been something. It's been something. So he's quietly sleeping right now, so I get to record. But that's one thing, right? Like it just okay, it popped up, or like how when I'm recording this is after the nor'easter and earthquake that happened in the Northeast. Like you can't control that. I get it. Not a big deal, right? We're not hurt. Um, but if we're talking like surprise visit to the house or um surprise birthday party, right? That I have an issue with. I know that it seems weird, and I think part of it is a control thing, and I know I'm not alone. Like I said, I'm just speaking from my personal thoughts here. Um, but yeah, that I cannot deal with, right? Okay, continuing on. After all trauma is a surprise by its very definition. Remember, trauma is something that happens unexpectedly, affects one adversely, and over which one has no control. Again, there is an almost magical thinking in not allowing oneself to enjoy the moment, as if by anticipating something bad happening, one can have some control over it. Well, you might say, at least I won't be surprised by whatever it is. Perhaps, but you won't have much fun either. Okay, speaking of which, like, there are definitely times where, and I'm posting this, like, when you just kind of have that bad feeling, like it's just in your gut. I'd been kind of feeling that in the last week, 2 weeks maybe, where it's just affecting me. Like there, you can't like put a name to it, but like something's gonna go wrong, even though you're trying to live your life. Like every little thing's getting to you. Like you're waiting for the next shoe to drop. That's kind of what she's talking about, right? It's not living in the moment, and it's hard to come out of, right? So like for me, going back to like the nor'easter and earthquake, and I don't know if that's like what I was waiting for, you know, but since it happened, right, I feel a little bit better. Now, that's not to say I wanted that to happen, but just overall, like that feeling kind of went away, if that makes sense. Like you just kind of have to like release it. Anyway, um, continuing on, think about it. How much control do you have over the things you worry about? What happens when they occur? Did it help did it help to worry? There's a paradox in all of this. Because adoptees, although in inveterate worriers, constant worriers, are often not very good planners. I'm terrible at planning. I'm terrible at schedules. Oh my god. The only reason I'm partly on a schedule is because of the darn dog. He keeps me on a schedule. There is a big difference there's a big difference between planning for the future and worrying about things that might happen. Planning for the future involves thought, purpose, and strategy. Doing one's homework might fall into that category. My purpose to pass my test, therefore I must think how to do that, and studying seems the best thing to do in this situation. Becoming a musician might fall into that category. My purpose is to entertain others by playing the saxophone, for example. The best way to do that is to practice until I become very good at playing, find a venue to begin in, and always do my best. Worrying about nebulous things doesn't do any good because you can't worry about everything, and you might be worrying about the wrong thing. How many times has worrying about something done you any good? Were you able to have a better outcome as a result of your worrying? Were you hurt any less when your partner left you because you worried during the entirety of your relationship that it would happen? Of course not, right? Did all that worrying do you any good? Do you feel better because of it? I guess you could say, I told you so to yourself. I guess you could believe that you were right. But what if your constant worrying got in the way of your relationship, got in the way of intimacy and love? What if your worrying caused the relationship to end? I believe that in the case of many adoptees and birth mothers, this is what happens. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy because it is caused by the very thing that is feared. Siegel says, non-consciously, the brain is wired, at least with the regard to the fear response, to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. We keep recreating the very situations that we fear the most in order to gain mastery over them. Yet instead, we most often reinforce them. We can only gain mastery over them if we react differently, if we push through the fear. President Franklin Roosevelt said, "There is nothing to fear but fear itself." It is true fear that is sometimes the greatest disabler of careers and relationships. That is true. That is the end of that piece, but that is very true. We kind of talked about it prior about self-sabotage and like feeling like you want something, you want to have this success, but then feeling like an imposter, or feeling like, in our case, that maybe either your adoptive parents or your birth parents will like take credit for it, right? And it's overcoming that. And while we are not the only ones that experience that, right? Just because you're an adoptee, it doesn't mean that you can't feel that imposter syndrome. It tends to affect us more because of that trauma, because our brains are rewired. So just a thought. We are going to work through that. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys next time.